Good morning, students. Today, the topic of discussion is from Indian Economic Development book, Poverty. Actually, this is a lengthy topic, so it has been divided into two parts. In part 1, we are going to study about that what do we understand by the term poverty, what do we understand by the term poverty line, what are the different variants of poverty, what are the causes of poverty, what are the characteristics of poverty, and what are the different types of committees till now that have been framed in order to define the poverty line. And in the second part we shall study about the different programs which have been started by the government till now in order to remove poverty from our country. So let us now proceed further with the meaning of poverty. Actually, poverty is the inability to fulfill the basic requirements of life. Basic requirements means that food, clothing, and shelter. As in the picture above, we are seeing that some children are sitting without any food, without any clothes. And in the second picture, we are seeing that the children are not having any proper houses. It means that they are devoid of the basic requirements of life, that is food, clothing, and shelter. Therefore, they are considered as poor. Now, there are different variants of poverty. One is relative poverty and another is absolute poverty. Actually, relative poverty refers to poverty of people in comparison to other people, regions, or nations. And in absolute poverty, it refers to total number of people living the poverty line. Now, there are some major differences between absolute and relative poverty. Relative poverty refers to poverty of people relative to other people, regions, or nations. And absolute poverty refers to total number of people living below the poverty line. And when we say India is relatively poor, then it means that we are comparing the condition of India with other countries. The comparison is that of per capita income of different countries. And absolute poverty has its relevance for less developed countries, and the concept has no relevance for developed countries. In the case of relative poverty within India, relative poverty is calculated with the help of Lorenz curve and Gini coefficient. And absolute poverty is calculated with the help of poverty line. Now let us understand the concept of relative poverty with the help of an example. It may be that there are two people and they are earning a handsome amount. Both are above the poverty line. But it may happen that one person is earning lesser than the other. It means that the person who is earning less is relatively poor than the person who is earning more. So in this way we can understand the concept of relative poverty. And in absolute poverty, whatever condition is defined while defining the poverty line, if the person falls or if the person fulfills the criteria, then he is supposed to lie below above the poverty line, and if he does not fulfill the criteria, then he falls below the poverty line and is considered as poor. When we say that a people is poor or people are poor or any people is poor, then there are some characteristics on the basis of which we define a person as poor or non-poor. Those characteristics are hunger, starvation, and malnutrition. Another characteristic is poor health, limited economic opportunities. Economic opportunities means that the people is not are not having much opportunities in earning their livelihood. Next is debt trap. When a person continuously falls into debt trap and he is not able to repay the old debt, then such type of people are considered as poor. Lack of facilities of electricity and water. These are also basic facilities which everyone should have. And if the person is devoid of such facilities, then he or she is considered as poor. Next is gender inequality. Inequality means that people, male or female, are not getting the equal opportunities in earning their livelihood, in getting the education, and so on. Next is bigger families. Yes, if there are characteristics of poverty, then the size of the family is naturally bigger. Now, uh, poor people have been categorized into three categories. One is chronic poor, another is transient poor, and the third one is non poor. Chronic poor includes all people who are always poor. Always poor means that they don't move above the poverty line or they don't cross the poverty line, and those are who are usually poor. Next is transient poor, includes churning poor who regularly move in and out of poverty, like small farmers, and occasionally poor who are rich most of the time and poor sometimes. And the third category is of non poor, and such people are never poor. Now here is a graph which is showing the different categories of poor, that is chronic poor, transient poor, and non poor. In chronic poor, some people are always poor. It means that they always lie below the poverty line. And this chronic poor also categorize some usually poor people. It means that sometimes or rarest of rare case they move above the poverty line. And next category is of transient poor. This is includes churning poor. Churning poor means that, see, the line sometimes the people are lying below the poverty line and sometimes they are moving above the poverty line, so there is a zigzag path above and below the poverty line, and the straight line shows the poverty line. And this transient poor also includes occasionally poor. Occasionally means they always lie above the poverty line, and sometimes it happens that due to some other reason they lie below the poverty line. And the third category in the graph is shown of non poor. They are always above the poverty line. Now, definition of poverty line. Yes, it is very important to know that what is poverty line. How can we define that this is a poverty line? It refers to a cutoff point which divides people of a region as poor and non-poor. First, people having income below the poverty line are called poor, and people with income above the poverty line are called non-poor. And poverty line tries to capture the socially acceptable minimum living standard which the society tries to fulfill. Now, from time to time, there has been various committees formed in order to define the poverty line. Some of those were formed prior to independence, and some were formed after independence. So let us firstly understand that what different time to time what type of different committees were formed in order to define the poverty line prior to independence. Firstly, Dadabhai Naoroji in his book Poverty and Un-British Rule in India made the earliest estimation of poverty line. It was based on cost of a subsistence or minimum basic diet. And secondly, National Planning Committee poverty line was based on a minimum standard of living perspective in which nutritional requirements were implicit. And thirdly, Bombay Plan in 1944 suggested a poverty line of rupees 75 per capita per year. And after independence, poverty estimation was done by various committees or expert groups. They were Firstly, Planning Commission expert group in 1962 formulated a separate poverty line for urban and rural areas. That was decided as rupees 20 and rupees 25 per capita per year respectively. Respectively means that rupees 20 was decided for the um, urban areas and rupees 25 for the rural areas. V.M. Dandekar and N. Rath in 1971 made the first systematic assessment of poverty in India based on NSS data. They were of the view that poverty line must be derived from the expenditure that was adequate to provide 2250 calories per day in both rural and urban areas. Then after Alag committee constructed a poverty line for rural and urban areas on the basis of nutritional requirements and related consumption expenditure. It was to be calculated by adjusting price level for inflation. Then after Lakarwala committee in 1993 suggested that consumption expenditure should be calculated based on calorie consumption as earlier. Secondly, state-specific poverty lines should be constructed and these should be updated using consumer price index of agricultural laborers in rural areas. And recently, Tendulkar Committee in 2009 fixed expenditure of rupees 33 a day in urban areas and rupees 27 a day in rural areas in order to define the poverty line. Then after, Rangarajan Committee in 2012 fixed rupees 47 a day in urban areas and rupees 38 a day in rural areas in order to define the poverty line. Now here is a table showing the poverty estimates by different committees. So let us have an overlook of 2009 and 10 data. And here we are saying that Tendulkar committee estimates and Rangarajan committee estimates are different. According to Tendulkar committee, in 2009-10 in rural areas 33.8% of the people were poor and in urban 20.9 and in total India 29.8, whereas as per Rangarajan committee 39.6% of the people were poor in rural areas in 2009 and 10 and in urban areas 35.1% of the population was poor in 9-10 and in entire India 38.2. So here we are seeing that Rangarajan committee estimates are more than Tendulkar committee estimates and similar was the case in 11-12 also. Into entire India, as per Tendulkar committee estimates 21.9% of the people were poor and according to Rangarajan committee estimates 29.5% of the people were poor in India in 2011 and 12. Now let us understand about the causes of poverty. First one is population explosion. Yes, if the population is too much, then what happens? People are not able to satisfy their needs, their basic requirements of food, clothing, shelter, education, health facilities, etc. And which leads to fall them into category of the poor. Second is low level of economic development. Yes, when economic development is low, then there is low infrastructural facilities in any economy. And when there would be low infrastructural facilities, obviously it is going to create a problem of poverty in our country. Poor state of agriculture. Yes, farmers who are mostly dependent upon the agriculture for earning their livelihood uh, mostly remain in debt and the reason is that they don't follow any modern techniques to do the farming. Next is high literacy illiteracy rate. Yes, most of the uh, people, if they are illiterate, then also they are not able to get a proper job. And when they are not able to get a proper job, then it happens that they might not earn a handsome amount or even that much amount which is sufficient to satisfy their basic requirements. which leads to the problem of poverty. Next is high level of unemployment. Yes, sometimes what happens, people move from rural areas to urban areas in search of employment. But what happens, the people, those who have migrated to urban areas, are not able to get jobs in the industries. It means that industries are not able to absorb the laborers which have migrated, and which creates the problem of unemployment. And when there would be unemployment, people would not be able to eat a nutritional food and don't get a proper education, health facilities, etc. High level of indebtedness. Yes, whenever any people don't have any source of earning the livelihood, then they borrow from their relatives, from the money lenders, and from other people also. And in the next year, when they are not again able to earn, then they are not able to repay their old debts, and again they borrow. Because if they want to live, if they have to live, then they have to eat something. And this, in this way, a circle goes and goes on and on. Inequality of income. Yes, if the income which has been distributed in the economy is not equally distributed among all the sections of the society, then also it creates the problem of poverty. Next is inflation. Yes, inflation is nothing but a general rise in level of prices in the economy. When the prices rise in the economy, and especially of the essential commodities, then what happens? Poor are not able to afford those, as even the essential commodities, and as a result they have to suffer from malnutrition. They don't get a proper food. And in this way, it creates the problem of poverty. Thank you.